Hey family, I was just in the middle of my walk here. Just thought I'd take a few minutes to sit, but I wanted to talk about the post that I made this morning on my community page and about how negative thinking impacts us and how really Christianity from a very early age for most of us has impacted us in a way that is just really negative in ways that we don't really always consider, because it literally does impact our lives on so many levels, from our relationships to, our self-esteem, and our self-esteem ends up dictating who we choose in our relationships. Our self-esteem dictates who are the careers that we choose, because either we believe that we're worthy to make, say, and I just throw out a number, say 6 figures, or we're not, or we don't have the confidence to believe that we can make so much amount of money or whatever. So all these things are a lot of times tied to our self-esteem, and the way that Christianity teaches us that we're born sinners and that we are wretch or we're unworthy. That stuff impacts us, and it impacts us for a long time. If you are trained to think that way, you don't stop being a Christian and then today and then tomorrow all of that goes away. And I know I've studied psychology in college, got to have a degree in it, so I understand how the human mind works in that respect. Okay, so I'm not just saying something flippantly. And I know a lot of people assume that when they get over Christianity or when they stop professing Jesus as their savior, that everything just all of a sudden just turns around and it no longer impacts them in any kind of way. And that's just not the truth. I had one of the saddest stories that I had someone write to me, was a gentleman that he believed so strongly in sin and hell that he just knew he was going to be punished, for sinning on earth when he died. So he believed so strongly in that idea that he said that he literally wanted to get his punishment over while he was living. In other words, he wanted to be in hell while he was living so that he could bypass going to hell after he died. He said that he literally set himself on fire. I'll repeat that. He literally set himself on fire to burn, so that it would absolve him of the sins that he has been taught that he had as a Christian. Guys, that is something so extreme that a lot of us probably can't imagine it, but on some level, that's the way Christianity affects us, And to think that that he did that, man, I mean, I was like, wow, that is some extreme negative programming, and that's what this guy did. So we don't get over these ideas, and we can offer, and a lot of times what I'm doing is I'm offering an alternative framework, because Christianity is a framework. It frames the way we believe and focuses us in on a certain way of believing, and if you're not aware of how it psychologically impacts you, then you can't really step outside of that frame. So Kemetic spirituality helps you step outside that frame. So a lot of times when I'm talking about Christianity, what I'm doing is I'm not necessarily putting down Christianity. That's not my intent. My intent is to help you recognize the frame that you've been taught to focus on or focus in, and then to give you another frame that the original teachings were meant to have you focus in on. Okay, so that the Christian frame is that you were born a sinner. The Kemetic frame is that you were born divine. Okay, that's two totally different ways of thinking, and it's going to produce two different types of psychological expression. in your life. And if you look around look around the African diaspora and the communities around the world, you'll see the fruit of this negative programming, because just economically, our communities are not self-sustaining for the most part. Now, of course, there are exceptions, and I know Christians love to use themselves or their one community as the exception to disprove the rule, but that's just not how it works. There are exceptions, and thankfully there are, because that means that we can see the possibilities. But for the most part, if you go around in communities in the African diaspora around the world, those communities are usually not economically self-sustaining, okay, on any level. So we have to consider these ideas, and we have to consider how this stuff is really programming us. So negative Christian programming is major. It's not something that you get over overnight. And that's one of the reasons why I created African Mind Rewire, was to basically give you a new frame of reference, to give you a new way of thinking. So you're not going to be able to stay with the Christian frame. And I know a lot of people want to do that. Is they want to look at the Bible the same way, or find the way that they've read the Bible and find answers in Kemetic spirituality through the same way that they read the Bible as a Christian, or to interpret it the same way that they did as a Christian. And if you're doing that, you're staying stuck in the same frame. You can't do it, because the way we were even taught the Bible as Christians, it is not the true meaning of a lot of the information that's there. The stories, the people, and the personages are there's something a lot deeper, So and for example, one of those is I created this PDF at the esotericbible.com. You go to the esotericbible.com, you can download that free PDF. But I interpret the 7 miracles of Jesus esoterically, instead of the way that the way that we were given them biblically. Okay, so it's some very powerful ideas. They're universal to us all as human beings, and not just to one special man. So you got to look at it. Look at these ideas from that perspective, and that's the way a lot of them were meant to be taught. But as Christians, we were given something else. Okay, so but at any rate, recognize that what I want you to get from this is to recognize that you have had some negative programming if you were a Christian for any length of time, especially if you were raised in it. If you were raised in Christianity as a child, I don't care whether you black, white, Latin, whatever race that you identify with. If you were raised in Christianity, you more than likely have accepted negative programming in some kind of way. Again, there are exceptions and people can be exceptions to the rule, absolutely. But we can look around the world and we can see the experiences of the majority of people that have accepted those beliefs and see how they're living. Okay, that's what you have to look at. So get a new frame and get a new way of looking at yourself. Because you're not a born sinner, you're born divine. You're an aspect of the Creator in human form, and that's what you have to look at, okay? So, but anyway, I'm going to get back to my walk, and I will talk to you guys another time. Y'all have a great day, okay? All right, bye-bye.